Hey guys, so this will be a continuation of my first video covering my Anachronism card collection. This video will cover sets 4 through 6. So the first set in set 4 is the Irish set. One thing that I thought was cool about set 4 is that it covers a lot of cultures that are a little less popular when it comes to studying history. In set 4, the sets include the Irish, the Maori, the Persians, and the Russians. I wasn't as familiar with a lot of these historical figures in this set, and I thought it was cool to learn more about them. So as I mentioned, the first set is the Irish set, and it features figures such as Benric Memb and Brian Boru. Another famous warrior is Cú Chulainn. I really love the artwork of this Cú Chulainn set. Cú Chulainn, Moríonn, and Gaebolga. Starting from here is the Maori set. The Maori are the native peoples of New Zealand, or as they call it, Aotearoa. And it's the only set in the collectible card game that features a culture from the Pacific Islands. So I'm glad they included a set like this. This page right here is full of Maori cards. This set right here, the Maui Tiki Tiki set, is the mail-in promo set, and it's a bit more rare than most of the other mail-in promo sets in this game. When I was selling them a couple years ago, it was probably worth about 25 bucks. Notable cards of cultural significance include moko, or the word for tattoo. Polynesians are very famous for their tattoos. Mana, which means power or life force. For those of you who have played Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, I'm sure you are very familiar with the concept of mana, or mana as a lot of people call it. And I'm actually pretty curious as to whether those games took inspiration for mana from the Polynesian culture. I've always been kind of curious about that. And the haka, which is the traditional Maori war dance. Starting from here is the Persian set. It includes famous figures such as Cyrus the Great, Darius the Great, and Mithridates VI. And starting from here is the Russian set, which includes figures such as Catherine the Great, Voltaire, Ivan the Terrible, and his wife Anastasia, Oprichniki, Ivan the Terrible's police force, and Peter the First. Pretty interesting set. And on this page are the promotional cards. So with the exception of the first set, promotional cards are always from sets of previously used cultures. For example, the Scottish from set 3, the French from set 3, the Egyptians from set 2, and so on and so forth. There are some pretty rare cards from this batch of promotional cards. For example, I know, like I said, a couple years ago when I was selling these, a bunch of these were worth 20 to 30 bucks. For example, these two Scottish cards I know don't know how to pronounce those names. I know this Egyptian card was, again, that's kind of a weird SSPW, not sure how to pronounce that. Volcarandarung, I know, was fairly valuable. And Wakian, the Thunder Spirit, which is also pretty rare. Starting from here is set 5. It starts off with the Aztec set, which is the only set of a culture from South America. I really love a lot of the artwork in this Aztec set. For example, I think this card, Tlacochtli, is easily one of the coolest pieces of artwork in the entire collectible card game. I also really like the flavor and theme of some of these cards. For example, you can see the Aztec Warriors fighting a Jaguar, and then in the subsequent cards, you can actually see the Aztec Warriors are wearing the Jaguar skins. So, pretty cool theme and flavor in that as well. I like the really cool headwear a lot of these Aztec Warriors are wearing. This right here is the famous Aztec warrior Moctezuma and the Aztec deity Quetzalcoatl. If you know anything about dinosaurs, you might recognize that name. The dinosaur Quetzalcoatlus is named after this deity. Starting from here is the very first revisiting of a set. It's the second Japanese set. Japanese cards were featured in the very first set of this collectible card game. This set from set 5 though is much harder to find on eBay and subsequently worth a little bit more. So I was definitely really proud when I was able to complete this Japanese set. I also think a lot of the artwork here is really cool. For example, this Izumini Kame Kanesada card I think is pretty badass. You can see the samurai running with that samurai sword kind of in the foreground. Looks really cool. Overall, I think samurai are an excellent warrior to base cards around. A friend of mine actually said these cards reminded him a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I've never really collected Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I can't really say I disagree, based on what I have seen. You can see the artwork of the samurai. Looks really cool. I thought these cards looked so cool, in fact, that they actually kind of inspired me to research some of these figures and learn their histories, and I thought it was pretty interesting. Starting from here is the Saracen set, which is the Arab or Muslim set, and it's a culture that I didn't really know too much about, so I did think it was pretty cool to learn more about it. This whole page right here is Saracen cards. The artwork in this set wasn't as good as the artwork from other sets in my opinion, but overall I think all the artwork in this game, this set included, is really top level, really top notch. Starting from here is the Spanish set. I'm definitely a big fan of some of this art. For example, I think this Santiago Matamoros card looks really awesome. Looks like there's an execution taking place. Famous figures from this set include Hernan Cortez, Queen Isabella, and the Spanish Inquisition. And starting from here are the promotional cards. There are some pretty rare promotional cards from this set, such as Claire Siege Boru. I sold that a couple years back for about 30 bucks, I believe. Hawaiki is pretty rare. Ostovani Kurosh, which is the first charter of human rights. Sagaris, Baba Yaga. All those cards I just pointed out are pretty rare. On this page, there are two more promotional cards, Godfrey of Bouillon and Geiseric. And starting from here is the start of set 6. It's the second revisiting of a set. It's the second Chinese set. The first Chinese set was featured in set number 2. Unlike the first Chinese set, I did not know who any of the characters or figures in this set were, but still, I thought it was cool to learn a little bit of stuff I didn't know. This Lu Bu set right here has kind of a unique art style to it. I also like this Zhang Fei set for its artwork. I think that's a pretty cool looking weapon. More Chinese cards right here. And starting right here is the Pirate set, which is one of my favorite sets from this collectible card game. It includes famous pirates such as Anne Bonny and Jack Rackham, who I learned about from the show Black Sails. And it includes who is certainly the most favorite pirate of all time, Blackbeard. It also includes his weapons, pair of cutlasses, and Blackbeard's Jolly Roger. This set also includes Sir Francis Drake. This card right here from the Sir Francis Drake set, I love the artwork. El Draco, or the Dragon. I believe that's Sir Francis Drake right there, and I presume that to be maybe his mother. And in the background is the dragon, and it kind of foreshadows what Sir Francis Drake is about to become. So, pretty cool flavor, really well drawn piece. Starting from here is the Romanian set. And I thought it was an interesting set choice. Pretty cool to choose a culture like that. Here's full page worth of Romanian cards. I love a lot of the artwork from this set. The Stephen the Great set, I think, has some pretty cool artwork. Another famous Romanian is Vlad Tepes, also known as Vlad the Impaler, so named because he brutally impaled his victims and his enemies on a stick or on poles in a very humiliating and grotesque fashion. And starting from here is the last full set of set 6. It's the Turkish set. In terms of artwork, it's not really my favorite, but there are still some cool pieces in here. In this set, actually, the most notable cards, I thought, in terms of recognition, were actually places. For example, this card right here is Constantania, now named Istanbul, and it's the modern-day capital of Turkey. And Hagia Sophia, which I know is a popular tourist attraction even to this day. More Turkish cards on this page. And lastly, that brings us to the promotional cards. From the first 6 sets, I think set 6 has the most valuable promotional cards. In terms of cards that were in the $20 to $30 range when I was selling them a couple years ago, I would say Lube, Jihad, this card, Templo Mayor, Reconquista, pretty much all the cards except for maybe Safe right here, and there's 2 in the back which I'll show you later, were in that $20 to $30 range. So definitely some really valuable cards in this set. Interesting card here, Jihad, Muslim Holy War. I love this Reconquista artwork. Looks pretty cool. Xerxes the First, prominent figure. And lastly, on this page are 2 more pretty rare promotional cards, Kamikaze and Kremlin. Kamikaze means divine wind in Japanese and refers to the typhoon that deterred the Mongolians from invading Japan. This particular card does not actually refer to what most people think when they think of kamikaze today, which is the Japanese suicide bombers in World War II. And also the Kremlin, which, if you know anything about Russia, I am sure you've heard of before. And these right here are my sealed starter sets from sets 4 through 6. They're all in custom-made acrylic cases, as I showed you in my first video. These are made by the Collectible Grading Authority. And some of these sets can actually be pretty hard to find. For example, this set 4 starter set, I don't believe that there are any sealed versions of this in English online right now, and as such I think it feels really good to actually have this, because I really don't think you can get this online, at least the last time I checked. They are pretty rare. So yeah, that's my complete collection from sets 4 through 6. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys tune in for my next video, which will cover set 7 and some of the other memorabilia related to this game. Until next time.